Bjorkatan Peak, Norway. Base jumper Hans Long soars from the 5,250-foot summit and travels at nearly 140 miles per hour. He flies too close to the cliff face, and not even his parachute can save him.
No! No! No!
Long is stuck in a large shrub nearly 200 feet above the ground. How does a veteran of more than 2,000 jumps end up like this?
2, 1. Woo!
Long miscalculates his position. To avoid colliding with the cliff, he releases his parachute. But instead of pulling him away from the rock, his chute sends him straight toward it. Falling out of control, a tree snags his chute, trapping him.
Åh, så dumt, altså. Ligge der og fly langs med veggen, ikke brekke skikkelig ut og så dumpe. For en puck!
It's more than 45 excruciating minutes before rescuers finally arrive.
This is Hans Lange. I'm together here with Joel and a very good rescue team. The helicopter is coming right now to get me. I hope that this will be a nice tour down.
Hans is lucky to be alive. He suffered a severely fractured leg. Had the shrub not been there to cushion the fall, Long's injuries could have been fatal. For now, Hans Long is safe, but maybe not for long, because he plans to jump again as soon as his wounds are healed. A bulldozer levels a building in Granby, Colorado. Then another, and another. It's part of a meticulously planned citywide demolition project.
The bulldozer went crazy.
But this plan wasn't put together by city engineers or construction workers.
Just received a 911 call reporting that there is an out-of-control bulldozer.
It's the brainchild of an angry man with a grudge against a lot of local people and businesses.
They can't tell who's driving it, but there is someone inside.
The man inside this armor-plated bulldozer is Marv Heemeyer. As horrified townspeople run for their lives, Heemeyer wrecks buildings and vehicles one after another. And he's ready to take on sheriff's deputies or anybody else who stands in his way.
This is a bad situation, guys. We might need SWAT team.
Heemeyer's an accomplished welder who spent a lot of time inside a secret workshop.
Yeah, it's all encased in metal, and you can't see who's driving or anything.
There, he outfitted the dozer with 2 sheets of half-inch steel plating with a layer of concrete in between.
What type do you need?
It's the biggest armor-piercing ammunition he has.
On this day, he seals himself in and takes off on a violent ride. Inside his cockpit, 2 assault rifles, lots of ammo, and video monitors to help him see where he's going. A bank, a hardware store, a concrete factory, even the town hall, and especially the police department. The one thing all of those places have in common, Heemeyer feels he has been wronged by these businesses or the people who own them. He even exacts revenge on the home of the town's former mayor.
He does have armor-piercing weaponry.
Deputies and SWAT teams try everything. But even armor-piercing bullets can't penetrate Marv Heemeyer's homemade metal and concrete shield.
If you want to try to box him in.
At one point, a heavy equipment operator decides to put a stop to the carnage. He climbs behind the wheel of his front-end loader and gets set to take on the armored bulldozer. But quickly, the operator finds himself in an industrial-sized game of chicken. Heemeyer speeds ahead, aiming directly for the blockage. Realizing his intentions, the loader attempts to flee, but the armored dozer gives chase. Ramming the tractor off its path, it steams ahead to its next target. Authorities seize the narrow opportunity, using the front loader truck to block the dozer in. The civilian operator hurries to safety. Forced to continue ahead, Heemeyer pushes his creation to the limit. The bulldozer grinds to a halt under the rubble of a steel building. Its engine has called it quits. As authorities try to get into the cab of his homemade tank, Marv Heemeyer takes his own life. It takes officers several hours and a cutting torch to finally get inside the cab. None of the townspeople are hurt, but the price tag on this rampage is about $7 million. A Texas state trooper pulls this driver over and proceeds to issue her a speeding ticket while her passenger remains in the car.
Afternoon, Texas Highway Patrol. Can you step on back here to the rear, please?
Just inches away from them, traffic is roaring by.
Let me get you come on over here. Let's get off the side of the road out of the way of that traffic there so neither one of us get run over. Ma'am, the reading for your stop today is for your speed. You're traveling a little bit too fast.
The officer proceeds to his patrol car to run this woman's information. And after a few minutes, he returns.
Let me get you come on over here, man. If you're up here and anybody hits the back of my patrol car, there's a good chance you're going to get caught somewhere in between that car and your car. And if you're not caught in between, you may still get struck by one of the vehicles. I don't want that to happen to you.
The cop's priority is to protect and serve.
See? Just like that.
The immense impact launches the van onto two wheels, seemingly defying the laws of physics by not flipping over. The driver then pulls over to the side of the road. The woman is unharmed. The woman's passenger will be hospitalized. Her car is totaled, but there is one piece of good news.
Is this a rental car?
Yes, it is.
See? Just like that.
Surveillance cameras capture a typical summer day at the local diner in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Customers and employees go about their business. While the man in this booth reads the paper, something catches his eye. Outside, this SUV is about to turn left onto the main road when an oncoming driver blacks out at the wheel. Still unconscious, but with a foot on the gas, the driver veers straight for the diner. As the minivan busts through the wall, the impact rams the booth and the man into the counter. Despite the severity of the impact, the man is shaken, but not enough to forget about his cap. The man in the booth receives only minor cuts and bruises, and the driver of the minivan escapes injury, thanks to being limp and unconscious throughout this entire accident. Dakota County, Minnesota. Local police pull over a minivan. At the wheel, a suspected drunk driver. Turns out, the driver's not intoxicated. But just as an officer hands her a citation for 2 lesser infractions, there's a very sobering moment. The man behind the wheel of this luxury SUV illegally speeds around 2 stopped police cruisers, loses control, and slams into the stopped minivan. The collision sends the SUV, the van, and the officer flying. And it turns out it was the driver of the SUV who should have been pulled over. He blew a .20 on the breathalyzer and is charged with driving under the influence. Neither of the drivers are seriously injured. And as for the officer, he's able to walk away from this close call.